Hey everyone, happy Tuesday. Thanks for joining me here tonight. We are continuing on the Feeling Good Embroidery of the Month. So here's the finished design, what we are going to be working up to. So we finished the chain stitching last night and we're moving on to some satin stitching. So we'll go over that. So thanks for joining me here. My name is Alyssa Thomas from Penguin and Fish, where we make cute embroidery kits for beginners. And I'm here every weeknight at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. So all right, you guys, let's get going. More stitching tonight. Okay, so I got all my gear out here. I have my pattern. Again, I'm using this to look at the colors and what stitches to use. So we're going to be moving on to this little flower tonight. So that's the deal. Let's zoom on in here. Thanks again for joining me. I'm on YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok again tonight. All right, there we are. We got that sun done last night. Well, actually not the whole sun. We got all this stuff out here. Oh, my gear looks so organized. Oh, I just posted right before I came on my little setup here. All right. Oh, hello, Noah from Kenosha. Hey, Debbie. Hey, Kimberly. All right, so let's go ahead and get started on the flower right there. So I have the guide for the colors, so I'm going to start grabbing those colors. We're going to do satin stitch. And I think I'm going to start with these two goldenrod colors. I'll weave into the ends or into the backs of those stitches, and then we'll start those. So I already have a piece out, it looks like. So this must have been the other half of the piece from last night. I'm going to grab my needle. Alrighty, so let's thread that guy. Okay, so I start without knots, remember? So I am going to weave in the ends here. I'm just going to go right here. I like weaving in 3 times. That kind of makes it nice and solid. So 1, 2. I actually embroidered all day today. We have some new kits coming up that we're going to share soon, and I was doing some last minute stitching of them. So we'll be starting that soon here. I'm going to take my watch off here so I don't keep banging it on the table. All right. So we're going to do this first leaf here with satin stitch. And so what that looks like is just kind of a solid fill of color. Here we go, right here. So it's a solid fill, and all the stitches are going in the same direction. Like all these blue stitches are all going, they're all next to each other in the same direction. And it's called a satin stitch because the light hits all of those threads at the same, since they're going in the same direction, the light hits it all the same, and it gets like this little shiny, satiny look to it when it catches the light just right. So we are going to try and recreate that. All right, so we're going to start on one side and go to the other. So I'm going to start on this lower edge, and I'm going to always stitch towards this top edge. And I'm starting in the middle because I have this little kind of point that comes in the middle there, and I think that's going to be like a good center marker. So sometimes when I do satin stitch, I like to mark a few of the stitches along the way. So I'm going to mark it there, and then let's draw some parallel ones on either side of that. So let's actually go all the way to the end here, the last little bit. And so I'm always starting on the one side and going to the other side. All right, so I'm going to go straight up. I want to go parallel to this one, so straight up parallel, and then going to the other side. So I'm kind of putting guides down first, and then I'll fill it in later. All right, so you can see now I have 2 parallel lines. Let's go to this last point on this side and do another parallel line straight up till I get the other side. Sometimes it's helpful to actually put the thread over there, and then you can kind of see just where to put it. All right, so there we go. I got my starter lines there, and now basically all I'm gonna do is fill in the shape. And again, I'm always gonna start on the lower edge and go up to the top side. I'm not gonna go back and forth. Like, I'm not gonna go doot, 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 doot. I wanna always like go in a circle. I always wanna start at the bottom and end at the top. So I'm gonna start all the way at the edge here. Or let's go from this point, that last one, over to the edge. So I'm coming up on the lower side and right next to my last stitch there. So I'm just like a thread length away, or so, like a little piece of fabric thread length away. And I'm gonna go straight up and stop along that upper edge, and I'm gonna go right next to that last stitch. So there we go. That's our second satin stitch there. And let's do the last one, going back down onto that bottom edge, just a little ways over, and then directly across again till I hit that opposite side, and we're kind of along the edge here. So, all right, we're covering up that last little round bit, so I think we're done on that side. So now I think I'm going to just go from here all the way over, and I'm using these ones that we already put in as my guide so I don't like get crooked along the way. All right, so back down at the bottom, just right next to that last stitch. Oh, Amy says, I'm back from vacation. It feels like it's been forever. Well, welcome back. I hope you had a lovely vacation. All right, so just following the bottom to the top, following the direction of those lines, and we're literally just filling the shape with tiny stitches that are right next to each other. And the satin stitch is like super duper great for filling small spaces like this. It's just so pretty. All right, I think we can fit maybe 2 more in this little space. I think so. All right, so 1. The last one's gonna go, you know, that's probably good, but let's try and squeeze 1 more in there. There we go. Look how sweet and like poofy, it's just really cute there. I'm liking that. All right, moving on. It's definitely helpful to do these little starter guides. I don't always do that, but I thought we were talking about it today at the office, and like, you know, that's a really kind of a nice tip, is just to add some of those starter lines just so you can see them. You can actually draw on it with pencil, like draw those lines on some horizontal or like parallel lines, I mean. But just throwing in a couple stitches along the way before filling it in is helpful, I think. All right, I think this is going to be the last one in this little section. Such a nice sound of it going through the fabric. I love that. All right, and I think we got maybe 3 stitches or so on this side. So take some time to fill in these stitches, but it looks so cute. So I wouldn't do a satin stitch for much bigger of a shape than this. Ooh, I think I can get 1 more little itty bitty one in here. I would maybe switch to a long and short stitch if I'm filling a larger shape. And we actually have the long, and this is what we're going to be stitching next week. It's a free stitch sampler. So we do have this over on the website for free as a PDF, but this is the long and short stitch. So that would be kind of what I would use if I'm filling like a larger space. Like that little tulip is kind of a larger space than like these mushrooms over here. So that I use the short and long stitch instead, which we'll learn next week. So I'm super excited about that. So if you guys have your patterns ready, make sure to have those printed out, or if you got the kit, we do have it available as a kit. We'll be stitching it. I'm so excited. All right, so we finished that little petal. that's looking awfully sweet. All right, so the next one that's this color is this petal down here. So why don't we do that? I think I'll probably run out of floss before then, but maybe not. So I'm going to start on the side, like where the smiley is again. Actually, I'm going to rotate a little bit, just so I like having my back hand feeling the stitches here. Like I like feeling feeling the needle come through. So sometimes I just rotate my hoop so my hand fits back there better. Oh, Kimberly says my satin stitch often ends up crooked. Yeah, sometimes you want to kind of, like, there's a way to do satin stitch where you kind of, like, can veer it around a curve, and sometimes you put a little, it's kind of like a short and long stitch, you put some shorter ones to fill it in. But I think, like, a true satin stitch, you're really trying to get all those threads going in the same direction. Oh, Amy says for her vacation, she was the moderator of a virtual quilting retreat. Oh, that's interesting. You'll have to let me know how that went. All right, so that's my first one. I just like going, you know, in that little inner point there. I think that's an easy way to start. It's a good, like, we'll just start in the middle and aim for that. I think that's a good just like starter line. And let's go in maybe the middle here. We'll do another parallel one. You can, again, drag this across. All right, it was about like right here. Okay, that looks pretty good. And let's go like right here. This will be my last like guide. All right. I think let's just go from that guide to the edge over here, and then I'll work my way up that other way. But yeah, so we'll get all of these satin stitch colors in. I mean, we're, you know, 2/5 of the way done already. That didn't take that long to do these little shapes. But we have a couple other colors that we'll be doing, and then we'll stitch his little smiley face, and then I'd like to get going on the text tonight. I'm hoping we can get that pretty well started. Two more in this little slot here. All right, and then so we met up with our other little guide point. So let's keep going along past that. Oh, I can feel it though, man. I like I was saying earlier, I embroidered all day today because we have a few more fun kits that we're gonna be releasing real soon here, like the roller skate one that we kind of secretly listed a few days ago. We have a few more, and we'll actually you know, send an email out about it. But yeah, so man, I'm definitely feeling it in my back. I've been rolling it on the roller. So we'll have to do like a stretching video sometime for embroidery, I think. Because especially when you work on this stuff for a long time, it can get to you a little bit. All right, I think that's good there. Oh, and embroidery 8. Nice icon. All right, so here we are. Oh, thanks, Blackout Death. Thank you. All right, so here we are. We got that little flower dude done with that color. So we're done with that for now. So I don't tie knots. I just weave in the backs of the stitches. So I weave 1, 2, 3 times. I'm trying to grab as many threads as I can. And I think that's a bit more secure than tying knots. And we don't have any knots on the back to like, so we don't accidentally get our thread caught on it or anything. So it's, I like it. Okay, next up, why don't we do the pink? So we're starting a new color. This is the Garden Rose color. Oh, Jenna was taking, oh, funny. Got it. Alright, so here is, I'm gonna get like 24 inches or so here. We'll snip that. And let's get our, oh, this end is kind of crazy, so I'm gonna just snip that to make it easier for myself. There we go. So I'm gonna grab 3 strands out of here. I'm stitching with 3 strands of floss. So I'm gonna just start by grabbing the one. There we are. Isolating that and then just pulling, letting that bunch up behind my fingers. I do like running my hand through that before getting the next one. That helps kind of prevent it from bunching up, from knotting up. All right, second one, zoop. All right, and third one, zoop. It goes fast. All right, so I'll set those aside, and we're going to stitch with these ones. I'm just going to match up those ends quickly. Ooh, this one's getting away from me. There we are. Grab my needle. Just pinch that end. Ooh, this like almost perfectly matches my nail polish tonight. That's always fun. Like when that happens. All right, so this petal and this petal are pink. So we will work on those next. I think we'll start up here. So I'm going to weave into the backs of some stitches that are already there instead of tying that knot, and then we'll start it up. So one, okay, I left a little bit hanging out the end there. We'll snip that away. 2, oops, accidentally pulled it out. Let's try that again. That's why the third pull or the third pass is so important, because at 2 you can kind of still pull on it and it'll come out, but that third, it gets pretty difficult to pull it out, especially if you're trying to grab as many threads along the way as you can. There we go. Now I won't be able to pull that out, but let's snip these extra bits. There, that's fine. All right, so let's do the same thing. I'm going to put those kind of starter points just as our guide. So I'm going to go right in that middle bit again. That is always nice that I know I'm going to get that center how I want it. And then let's go get one on this side again. Cross up over there. And I think that's pretty good. I don't think I really need one over here. It probably wouldn't hurt, but I think we'll just start here. So I'm going to fill in this space here, and then I'll work my way over to the other side, and maybe I'll just go upright. So going down on this side. Going straight across the top. And I think we'll need, yeah, I can still see the line, so we'll need one more in there. Oh, it was 91 degrees. Yeah, that's how it was here today. It was, we were at the office, and sometimes it can get really hot in there, but we had it all closed up on some cooler days, so it wasn't nearly as bad. But then, then we walk outside, and it just hits you. So it's really hazy by us too. I think we're getting like some Canadian fire smoke coming at us, but it was hazy. We went for a walk this afternoon, which maybe wasn't the best idea if it's like such poor air quality today, but wow, that doesn't happen very often that it's hazy like that. I mean, the last time it was super weird and hazy was when we were getting all the smoke blowing over from California like last year, I think. It's weird when it makes it all the way to Minneapolis. Wondering if I should put one more in here. That looks pretty good. Let's get to the other side. Oh, the fires in Oregon, is that where they're coming from? I just saw a quick graphic. I haven't been watching the news or anything. Yeah. Ugh, Nolene, you're going in lockdown again. Oh, Amy worked on her hummingbird embroidery a couple nights. Yay! Oh, the kids make perfect travel projects. Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah, I always say that, like, embroidery is, like, super duper the best travel project. First of all, you can fit it in such a small space, especially if you bring a smaller hoop, or, you know, you could not bring a hoop at all and still embroider. I mean, you really don't need much for it, and ugh, makes the time go by really nicely. It fits in a little bag, it fits in a pocket. I like it. All right, I think one more little one on the side here. There we are. Cute. All right, so let's, we got one more on this side with the pink, and then this one's actually the blue color. So that's going to be the same blue that we use for the type later here. All right, and this is, again, I'll have this guy here so you guys can see it. This is what it'll look like when it's done. So we'll have all the blue, and we have that little itty bitty blue leaf right there. Not leaf, it's a, I would call it a petal, little petal. All right, so this one down here. So I'm going across from that point again. Really, I could really be stitching these all in the same direction. I'm kind of going in the direction of the petal. That just feels right for me. But like, you could do them all like vertically. I mean, it'd be weirder to fill it in like at some angles. But you could do it, and then the light would hit it all just exactly the same. But with petals, I kind of like doing them in different directions like this. All right, there's a guide. Let's put a guide over here. All right, about right there. And I think we'll just start, well, nah, let's put another guide in. Helpful on these tall parts. I think we'll have just enough floss again for this, which is great. So we'll do the blue leaf, or the petal, and then we'll stitch his little face. I think we'll get that done. So the face is just all backstitch. So we're going to go around the circle with a backstitch, and then we'll just get that eye in the mouth with more little backstitches. Oh, good luck, Nora. That's great. I think maybe two more in here. And then we'll get, I don't know, I could fit another one. I think we're going to do, now we'll do two more in this little space. It's going to be so cute with this little flower done. this will be the last stitch here. They're cute. All right, let's weave in the end and do that blue petal. Blue, you're up. So I'll get a longer piece again, about 24 inches again. Let's do our quick way of threading, or separating the floss. Oop. There. Two and three. Oops, see, I didn't pull it. Straight first, and there we go. Now it came through. Just run my hand through this one. All right, we're ready. Get these together. All right, let's get that last satin stitch petal there, and he will be done and awfully sweet. So let's weave in the ends again. 1, 2, and 3. Lock it in. Uh-oh, that's a mess. There we go. All right, I think we're good. Oh, I did kind of pull on those stitches a lot, though. I think we're fine. All right, let's start in that middle again. I find that just nice. And put in our little guide points again. We'll put one here. Well, like going all the way to that point there. That's been working out. So cross over there. Add that guide. Add the guide on this side. There we are. Good. All right, let's fill in the rest of this side, and then we'll go the other direction. I think we're cruising through this a little bit. The smiley sun and flower would be cute. Oh, to put on a child's t-shirt. Oh, how would you do this? I would, it'd be helpful to get the PDF download version of the pattern, because then you can, like, just isolate, well, you can just blow up or shrink just the part that you want. And I would just, I think the best way to sew onto children's clothing, or just t-shirts in general. So t-shirts are tough. T-shirts and sweatshirts are a bit tough to stitch through because they're like a tight knit, and a knit fabric is a little bit different than a woven fabric. So like this fabric is woven. So knit fabric, it's just a little bit harder to pull the needle through, and it's stretchy, so that has its own things to deal with. So I think the best way to do it is to use the stick and stitch embroidery stabilizer from Sulky. Then you can print or trace the design onto the Sulky, cut it out, and then it'll stick on your fabric like a sticker. So then you can use that to help you stitch through the t-shirt. It'll still want to stretch and be wobbly, but it'll help a little bit. So I'd stitch through using that then, and then it comes off with water. It's never going to be as clean as it will be if you're stitching on like a woven fabric like this. It'll probably be a little poofier and bunchier, and you know, it's going to want to stretch and stuff too, which is fine. That's just what happens. The other way you could do it is to stitch it onto a woven piece of fabric first and kind of make a patch out of it. Then you'd cut around the shape and then sew it onto, like hand sew it onto the shirt. I've done that before. I think we did that on here a few months ago. I mean, that's extra work sewing it, like the little edge on, but it looks really cute when you're done. Yeah, this little flower would be really cute in the middle of a t-shirt. It's kind of that like 90s look with the little like small t-shirts with the flower or butterfly right in the middle. All right, we got all of that satin stitching done there. That's looking really cute. It's so smooth and soft. I like that. All right, so let's weave in the end. I don't need the blue. I mean, I could start the blue text right away, but I kind of want to just, let's focus on finishing this feller first. But this is a long thread yet, so we'll use that later. Okay, so we need to do that little face here, and that is with that light brown color. That's our teddy bear color. I have a piece left over from this guy's face, so I don't need to get a new piece, which is great. So we're gonna do the back stitch again for this. Yeah, it's like a 70s, it's a 70s flower for sure. More like a 70s like flower power. But those little shirts that were in the 90s specifically are like an all-white t-shirt with like just a tiny little icon in it. So it'd be kind of like putting like 90s and 70s together a little bit. But yeah, that's the style of the flower for sure. There's more of a 70s vibe. All right, so I'm going to be going around this edge here with a back stitch, and then we'll fill it in. Blackout Death is asking, how long does it take to finish? So this one is going to take me probably 4.5, 5 hours. We're going to be working on it for an hour every evening this week. I like calling them like 2 movie projects. So if you get yourself 2 nice long movies and sit through those, then you'll be done. Oh, Chris Martin saying, very retro look with a touch of 90s. Exactly. That's kind of where we're at right now, right? Retro look with a touch of 90s. I think that's kind of the vibe these days. All right, let's go do a back stitch around the edge here. So we probably don't need this edge. I think our satin stitch edge is actually looking pretty nice and round, but we're gonna go and add an extra little back stitch to kind of we'll frame the face a little bit. So we learned the back stitch yesterday. I'm just going like a stitch length away, coming up about 1/8 of an inch or so, and then going back towards that last stitch and going in the same hole there. Uh-oh. There we go. And we're just kind of kissing the edges of the satin stitch here. Yeah, Lenore, if you do try and stitch this on a t-shirt, I would love to see how that goes for you. I'd love to see it if you wanted to share in the Penguin Fish Crafters group. That'd be awesome. Chris Martin 189 says the styles seem to be a lot about the nostalgia. I cannot say that word. I really can't. Oh, I can't say that word. Nostalgia. That's one of those words right now. People reminiscing on their childhood. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's a lot of that reminiscing. So that's like it's just so funny that it is really right now like 70s and 90s. Like both of those vibes are out there right now for sure. I feel like the 70s whole thing is like kids just seeing that like kind of look for the first time and being like, wow, look at all the color, look at all the fun shapes and styles and whatever. So they're going towards that. And then the 90s being back is like that whole 20 years thing coming back. I feel like, although it's a bit more than 20 years now, isn't it? Sheesh. God, it's like 40 years, 30 years. I like it. Makes me feel like high school again. Like high school, junior high vibes. It's funny. And all those movies are the best. All the 90s movies. Like, you know, Clueless and all those movies. I love them. Alright, so these eyes are just kind of like a couple little straight stitches. 2 little itty-bitty straight stitches do the job. And then I think we can get this smiley and maybe 3 back stitches and we'll be good. Oh yeah, they go so well together too. Agreed. They're just both fun. Alright. There we go. Little flower guy's done. He's happy. And I think that is it for this teddy bear color as well. I don't think we have any more of this brown color in here. So that's that. 1 color down already. That's good. All right, I think next I want to start after we weave in the ends here, I want to start the text. So that'll take us some time. So I'd like to just bite the bullet and get going on it. We did the cute little fun guys first. I always like doing that, like, do like your favorite part of embroidery first and then move on, getting the rest of it. Still looking nice and clean on the back. No knots to, accidentally catch our thread on or anything. Oh, look at that little nugget. That's cute. All right. So feeling good. I think I'll just start at the F and work my way that way. That feels logical, I suppose. So I have this larger piece of thread. I think I'm going to weave into the ends of this sunshine and then kind of jump over to this F. And then we'll just keep going. A lot of kind of surface area in these letters, so I'm expecting them to kind of take a little bit of time. But we could switch to the sewing method. Oops, dropped it. Looked up for a second and dropped my thread. Okay. Let's go 3 times here. Actually, let's weave in this side. There's less stuff already there. 1. Fun colors. 2. All right. So I'm going to just, I guess, jump right over here. Oh, yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think I'll switch to the sewing method of embroidery right now because I think it'll go a little faster. And we got some nice shapes to do that on. So there's a stabbing method. of embroidery and a sewing method of embroidery. So the stabbing is kind of what I've been doing. I'm going like straight down and pulling all the way through, and then coming straight up and pulling all the way through. That's the stabbing method. The sewing method is when you go in and out in the same move. It's way faster, I think, and I'm just not so used to doing it, so I always kind of err on the side of doing the stabbing method, just because that's how I grew up doing it. But I am trying to practice my sewing method, because it's way faster, and I'm just not as accurate with it as I am with the stabbing method. But one thing that helps is loosening your fabric in the hoop a little bit. So I'm just going to kind of loosen this a hair, and then we'll just push on it a little bit, get it a little more flexible in there. So, all right, the sewing method. That's when, okay, I'm doing a back stitch, so I'm going back to the start of the stitch before, and then I'm going to come up in the same motion where the next stitch is going to start. So I'm in and out, the needle's in and out at the same time here, right? Oh, thanks, Sharon. Sharon says, I love watching you. You're great. I love the back. So nice and neat. I think a lot of the neatness comes from weaving in the ends, for sure. All right, so let's do that again. The sewing method. So in and out in the same motion, and then you can just go right through and pull through. So I think, like I said, I don't think it maybe doesn't look quite as clean and quite as even as what my stitches are when I do the stabbing method, but I'm practicing, and I think it's getting much more accurate. It is faster, though, I do have to say that, because you're getting rid of like a whole motion, right? I don't have to pull it all the way to the back and all the way to the front, but it does help, again, having it a little more loose in the fabric here. All right, and I can really only do this sewing method from right to left, so I will be moving the hoop a lot at this point, just so I can keep going right to left. Oh, I think we tried going up to down before, but I think right to left worked best for me. Oh, thanks, Juliana's girlfriend. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, so I'll probably try and do the sewing method, like what I'm doing now, the in and out in the same motion, as much as I can on this text, because it will just go way faster. I am doing the back stitch right now, so we're going along the line here, but I'm going backwards towards my last stitch first and going in the same hole. And then I'm coming up where my next stitch is going to start, and then pulling through. And again, I'm using this sewing method. The stabbing method would be going, back to that last stitch and pulling all the way through, and then finding the line. I just kind of drag my needle across the fabric until I can see it right on that line, right where I want it, and then I come up and I go all the way up. So that's the stabbing method. This is how I learned, and this is still my go-to. Straight down, straight up. I feel like you can get really, really accurate, but it is not as fast as that sewing method. But I can change directions more easily. I'm just more used to it, that's for sure. But this is the back stitch. We've already done the chain stitch, is what's going around the sun. It looks like that cute little like chains that are interlocking. It looks like exactly like a crochet chain stitch. And then we've also done the satin stitch, which are, we filled those little petals in today with the satin stitch. And now we are just outlining the text here with a back stitch. I think there's one more stitch. Oh yeah, the running stitch, we have all these dashed lines. We'll do those last probably. All right, so I'm gonna go in and out in the same motion again. So I'm switching styles. So this is the sewing method again. Actually, around this curve, I'll go back to the stabbing. Oh, no problem. Feel free to ask whatever questions you like. I'm just chilling for the evening, getting some embroidery done. Sometimes I just like doing the stabbing method so I don't have to move my hoop around a lot. Like it's nice just looking at it upright for a little versus spinning it all over the place to do this sewing method. I'm sure there's some people that can do the sewing method in any direction, but not me. Not yet, at least. Have not practiced any other direction. I just got done watching the Full Bloom show. Have any of you guys seen that? It's like a contestant show, but they're putting together like floral arrangements, like mega crazy, beautiful floral arrangements. But like it's beautiful, but I'm so disappointed with the format. It's more like kind of like Master Chef, where it's like high intensity and energy and everyone's critiquing each other sort of thing, versus like Great British Baking Show, where everyone's just so nice. So I'm so mad at the format, but what the design is so beautiful. I just got done with all those. Oh, your video on the pinch method to thread a needle saved me so much time. Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. Yeah, when I figured that out, I know, I mean, like, I'm sure I learned it from somewhere. I didn't make that up for sure. But that's like the only way I thread things these days. It's just, like I don't lick the thread or any of that anymore, which is nice. So we'll be doing that method real soon here. I'm almost out of floss here. We'll get started on this E. I think we'll run out somewhere on that E. I like all this bubbly text on here. Alrighty, last stitch on the F. How are we doing? Oh, we got about 10 more minutes yet, so yeah, we should be able to get the E done here, I think. All right, so I'm just jumping over, and let's just start going around the E, I guess. Let's maybe do the sewing method now. Maybe that'll speed it up, and then I can start a new floss. So again, I gotta go right to left for the sewing method, where I go in and out in the same motion. I'm not good at going any other direction, so we'll be moving this hoop around quite a bit. All right, in and out. So I'm finishing the last stitch, and then I'm coming up for the start of the next stitch. That's kind of the sewing method for back stitch. Ooh, I can maybe do one more, I think. There we go. I can get like 2 more. Let's do the stabbing method. Okay, no, this is the last one. All right, let's flip and weave in those ends. All right, we'll snip that. All right, and I have a little bit left over. I mean, it's not a super long piece, but it's long enough left over from doing that little petal. So I think I will. I'll use this up. Huh. Do I think I can get around this? I think I left off here, but I think I might go back to the top here. Because if I can get all the way around, if I have some left over, I can kind of just jump over at this point. That'll be easier to jump over than like way over here to jump across. So let's go back up to the top here. Okay, let's weave in the end. 1. Oh, Kimberly says, trying to see how far you're going is like bobbin chicken. Yes, it totally is. We're playing thread chicken. Like can we get this? This will be the chicken game for this E. Like, can we get all the way around this E? I can cheat it a little bit by doing those, instead of just all back stitches, I can do like 1 back stitch and then 1 forward stitch and 1 back stitch and 1 forward stitch. But I don't like doing that. I just do that if I'm like, oh, I need to squeeze 5 more stitches and I have only enough for like 2 stitches. Then I'll do that. I mean, I guess I'd preserve more thread doing it that way, but I just think the back stitches, there's just a tiny, it looks just a hair better. They all just lay on the fabric a hair better. But, you know, to anyone else's eye, I'm sure they, you know, and to my eye too, I'm sure it just all looks the same after a while. But as I'm stitching them, it just feels better to do the back stitch. Oh, yes! Liminal Librarian says, that seems so much neater than tying a knot at the end. I'm a newbie. Yes, so this is, I mean, that's totally fine, tying a knot. That's how most everyone does it. I've kind of just, over time, started doing it this way. I love it. First of all, I think it's a bit more secure than tying a knot. But it also lets me have like a super duper clean back. There's no knots on here, and no knots means that I'm not catching my thread, because you know what will happen. You'll have a knot over here, and you'll be stitching, and it'll get stuck on that knot, like way the heck over here, and you don't even know while you're stitching, and then you look at the back, and it's like, crap, I got those knots everywhere. Or with knots, they have those little ends, right? You tie the knot, and you got that short little end. Those kind of come to the front all the time. I hate it. Oh, yes, I've done that. Yep, exactly. So this totally eliminates that, like 100%, because there's nothing for the back to grab on. Like, there's nothing here to grab on. It's all woven in. So that, I think, is my biggest thing that started getting my backs of my embroideries to be so much cleaner is the weaving in the ends. It's tricky when you don't have any ends to weave into. Like, we have all the backs of the stitches. I have a bunch of stitches here already, so I can just weave into the backs that already exist. But when you start fresh, you have to do a different little technique to get it started, called an away knot. That's what I like using, where you kind of basically reserve a piece of thread, and then you stitch your whole thing, and then you have that thread left over, and you weave that in once you have some stitches. But yeah, love it so much. I never get anything stuck anymore. Okay, we are gonna play some major thread chicken though, some floss chicken. I don't know, going all the way in here and around. I'm not sure we're gonna make it. We're gonna get close though. It's real close. my husband got me a jean jacket for my birthday. I kind of like, and he even told me like, I got this so you could stitch, you could decorate it, you could put a whole bunch of stuff on. I kind of think this would be good on a jean jacket. Might have to stitch this one. Oh, Victorian women strive to have the back of their work as neat as the front. Can you imagine? Yeah, that being your education. I know, right? Like, that's what women are meant to do, Kimberly. Yeah, exactly. Like, just, strive to have that embroidery looking nice. For me, like, the back being nice isn't the issue. For me, it's the, not having my thread get caught on stuff all the time. That's what I like. And a clean back just is kind of bonus. But I don't care. It can be totally messy on the back, and that's nothing to feel bad about. But yeah, I just think weaving in the ends is more secure, and yeah, I'm not catching my floss and everything. And look, I got oodles and oodles of floss left. Totally one thread chicken without having to switch to a back stitch and a forward stitch. I'm going to actually be able to start this next letter E with of what I got left here of thread. So I think I'll go to this floss is done tonight, and we will call it an evening. I'm stitching this an hour starting at 8:30 Central Time every day this week. And then next week we'll be doing the raccoon pattern. So that will be next week's thing. So this is my first week kind of doing it on TikTok as well. So next week I'll probably also be stitching on TikTok along with Facebook and YouTube here. It's nice and fun with embroidery. I think that'd be a little bit more difficult with all the sewing and everything. So as long as it's embroidery, it's nice to be in all the places. Geez, look at all the stitches. I like this. Look at all this. This is way more than I was expecting. I thought I'd get like 2 more stitches after I went across to this next E. I'm gonna get like the whole bottom of this E done. Oh, interesting. Noeline says in tapestry, it's basically worth more money if the back's as nice as the front. Interesting. Maru says, when I was at elementary school, it was mandatory to do embroidery. Oh, any kind. Taught girls any kind. Taught girls who did cross stitch had to unstitch from the back. Weren't even. What? Okay, see, that stresses me out. That's forced on people. Now start over. That's why there's so many quilt police now and stitching police, and they had to learn it and redo it. So now everyone's gonna have to redo it, and that's why everyone is just so feeling the need for everything to be perfect and stuff too. That's ingrained in us early. So I think be imperfect. That's how you learn, and that's how you try new things. But man, yeah, that stresses me out. Having it to be perfect and having to take it out if they're not even. Oh my god, what a nightmare. No, thank you. All right, this is for sure my last stitch, but we totally super duper one thread chicken. I mean, I got half this next E done. I was not expecting that at all. So that makes me happy. And we're actually stopping at a good place because I can do what we did with the last E. When I start the next piece of floss, I can start, I'll show you, let me just snip this. We can start where we started. We could start here, and then I would end up here, and that's a good spot to just jump over to the L. So that'll be great. So tomorrow we'll be continuing on all this text. I think we'll get pretty far. We're definitely not going to go more than this text, though. I'm thinking it'll take the whole time tomorrow for sure. But that is like a ton done. And then Thursday we will do all of the running stitches. So again, here's the finished one. So we're gonna get it to look like that. I think that'll be really fun doing all these little running stitches. So that'll probably be Thursday, but we're getting like the bulk of it done. And it was so fun just to do that little flower today. So all right, everyone. All right, hello. So that's the plan for tomorrow. We're getting on that one, and then again on next week we will be starting the stitching raccoon sampler, the stitching raccoon sampler with the stitch of the day. So make sure if you haven't gotten your free PDF of that yet, go grab that over at penguinandfish.com. And with that, you also get that 14 days of stitches where we go through each one of the stitches. Plus, we'll be doing it live next week. So any questions you had with it, we'll be ready to ask them next week. So thank you again, everyone, and I will see you tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. Central Time again. Getting going well on this, I think. All right, have a wonderful evening. Good night.